Hello and welcome to my channel. Here I review new movies and television shows. Today, I want to talk about Netflix's new Boksoon. It's a Korean crime drama with action elements that was written and directed by Sung Hyun Byun. It follows an assassin named Boksoon, a woman on top of her game and the top killer in her company. She's also a single mother that's struggling to relate to her teenage daughter. When things start going wrong at work and her daughter starts to struggle at school, she finds herself struggling to maintain her two worlds. The story initially presents itself as a tale of high-stakes assassins working on lucrative contracts, but quickly changes course and transforms into a drama that focuses on contrasting and comparing the relationships between Boksoon and the people around her. It still has a good amount of action in the form of fights between the different killers, but the majority of the screen time is dedicated to the drama. The main storyline sees Boksoon struggling at work to maintain her reputation as an aging assassin when she starts to make a few mistakes. The other killers start to challenge her, and the director of her company that has it out for her starts making a move to replace her. At home, Boksoon's daughter struggles with her sexuality and having to hide parts of herself from the world. We learn a little about her situation and how it relates to her mother, and we see how Boksoon learns from her daughter and grows from being around her. The two storylines are used to compare and contrast, and we delve into the lives of these contract killers. The film humanizes them for us and makes us want to care about them despite how despicable they are. It achieves this by showing us them in normal environments and situations and by using analogies and euphemisms to refer to every aspect of its industry. A murder is a show, the mercenary group is a company, and making your first kill is called debuting. It gives us the idea that they are just another group of corporate workers doing whatever they can to survive in their environment. We learn a little about what makes them tick and find out that most of them are fairly ordinary, all things considered. It works really well because later in the movie when everything goes to hell and characters start dying, you deeply feel the impact of their deaths. The movie made you like these people and then shows you them being murdered in the most brutal fashion imaginable. One guy got his skull caved in with the blunt end of a knife, several more were murdered by people they trusted, and all of the deaths come with lots of fake blood and giant wounds. Boksoon and her relationships are great, but the rest of the story is far-fetched and at times kind of boring. There's this convoluted world of assassins with lots of rules, and by the end of the film, all of them are broken. There are long breaks between fights, there are a few threads left unraveled, and to top it all off, there is a lot of exposition and characters that are redundant. It works well as a vehicle for the action, and they manage to explore the characters and their storylines in an interesting, in-depth way, but it all takes place in a setting that's pure fantasy and relies on you not thinking too hard about any of it. For example, the film is terrible at tracking the damage to individuals and accounting for it. Boksoon or the other assassins will take heavy blows to the head and ignore it, get cut up and stabbed and otherwise maimed, and be fine to continue as if nothing happened. The actions of the antagonist are also never explained, and he seems to act in whatever manner leads to the conclusion the story wants. They don't give proper supporting arguments to the how or why. The cast does a great job with the characters they're given and manage to create fully fleshed out and realistic people that you can appreciate for their human qualities. Though each of them is a bloodthirsty murderer when it comes down to it, they all feel like real people you might run into out in the world, at a bar, a restaurant, or even as one of your co-workers. They all live by a code of their own choosing, and when push comes to shove, everyone here shoves back. It's kind of nice to see such respect and understanding between enemies. The four people that stood out in the film were the two main actors, John Do-yeon, who plays Boksoon, and Sol Kyung-yu, as well as Koo Kyo-hwan and Lee Yan, who play assassins working at the same company. Each of them stands out for how well they played the emotions of their character, and how well they fit into the role. John Do-yeon plays on an air of confidence and stoicism whenever she's working and slips into the doting mother role whenever she's around her child. She's charismatic and witty when she's fighting and genuinely seems to revel in the battle. She also has great chemistry with the other actors. Sol Kyung-yu as Director Cha is a serious man who keeps himself in check at all times, but when he inevitably loses it, he appears like a postal office worker. His face is rigid with rage and you can almost see steam coming off of him. He has great chemistry with John Do-yeon, and he played the emotional aspect of his relationship with her subtly. It's clear he likes her, but not how much, and whether or not that appreciation will actually stay his hand. Koo Kyo-hwan and Lee Yan play minor roles within the grander narrative, but their characters made a big impact in the short amount of time given. Koo Kyo-hwan plays another assassin working at Boksoon's company and sees her as a mentor figure. He played his final scene well and really let his emotions pour out. Lee Yan is an intern at their company who idolizes Boksoon and gets caught up in a fight between her and the director of the company. She resembles Boksoon in a lot of ways, and her story takes a lot of twists and turns. Her last scene was gut-wrenching. Visually, the film is a fairly standard drama with nice sets, costumes, and scenery. It does a good job capturing the environment as well as the mood of the scene and puts the emotions of the characters on full display. The film goes out of its way to inject movement, energy, and impact into the film whenever it can, and a lot of the visuals end up looking and feeling great because of it. On top of the normal visuals being well executed, the action sequences are highly creative and really capture the larger-than-life nature of the characters when they're in combat. They make use of editing tricks, clever camera work, and solid choreography in order to create combat sequences that are brutal and impactful. They also went out of their way to show off Boksoon's ability to predict her opponent's next moves. We see her thinking, and then the fight plays out as if it were really happening, only for it to end with her being stabbed, slashed, or bludgeoned to death. Then it cuts back to her thinking, and we see how she actually handles it. It was a neat touch that felt a little confusing the first time it happened, but after that, it gets used to great effect. The final battle especially was so cool because of it. Seeing all the different ways the antagonist could kill her made it super tense when it went back to reality and she still had to contend with the real man. Sound-wise, the film does a good job of matching the music to the scenery, and adding different bits of flavor here and there with different instrumental backing. It sounds good, but it's also generic and not all that memorable. Overall, the film has some great action sequences and presents characters that I was interested in learning about. It took me a little while to get into it, but by the end of the film I was thoroughly invested in the outcome. The story is a little silly, and the soundtrack isn't all that memorable, but the cast does a great job of the emotions and the movie looks good. It tries to experiment with the action sequences, making them feel more like artistic endeavors than fight scenes. And the world they tried to build seems interesting, and could definitely work with a little more polish. If you like action, this one's got some great fight scenes that are worthwhile, especially in the second half of the film when things start kicking off. It's also good if you like complex character narratives with morally gray characters. If you want a concise story with good people in it, then maybe try something else. 7 out of 10. Remember, those are just my thoughts on the film. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What do you get when everybody stops dropping bombs? Peace!